Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my post-election stream. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm very excited. I'm extraordinarily happy today, and I hope everyone uh, listened to AI Shire Tory's channel last night because I was on there for his election stream, and I think he'll be joining us in a little bit as well to discuss the election. And we did not get to call the election because uh, in Britain it was really late for him. So, but we sort of more or less predicted what was going to happen, which Trump has, I mean, Pennsylvania, I kept saying that night that Pennsylvania was what was most important. And once Pennsylvania was called, it was all over. And it was. I mean, Trump totally blew Harris out of the water. And he's currently winning the popular vote with 51% of the vote. And Harris only has 47.5% of the popular vote, which is kind of bizarre because in Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump got 46 percent of the vote, and Hillary Clinton got like 47%. And obviously, at that point, so people were really not happy with either candidate very much because a large percentage went to the third party candidates. And in some ways, that still happened this time, at least probably like 3% or 2 to 3% went to other candidates, which shouldn't surprise many. Kamala Harris was an incredibly unlikable candidate. I mean, she's basically fake. She was trying to run on good vibes, which I mean, good vibes turned into you're a mid-century German if you support the other guy, and then um, and then what is it? And then Biden called all of Trump's supporters garbage. So Trump has been reelected as king of the garbage. He is King Trump, returner. He also took out the trash, you could say, which I think is kind of funny because he was playing as a garbage man for a little. Um, but yeah, it's a exciting. Now, a lot of people are probably looking and thinking, okay, well, Trump wasn't my ideal. Maybe that's the case for many people, and I totally understand that. I think, in when you're dealing with a democracy or a republic or whatever, which I'm not a fan of necessarily. I don't think it's the best system by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to measure things in, are things moving in the right direction? And if things are moving in the right direction, I don't know what else you can really want from that. You know what I mean? There's really not much we can get otherwise. Yeah, exactly. Lord Charles Thomas is saying is always less about, or was always less about seeing him win, but more about seeing them lose. Yeah, I mean, Democrats deserve to lose. I liked what like Dave Smith kind of said. This is that Democrats definitely deserve to lose more than Trump deserved to win, but it's still nice to move the Overton window a little bit to the right. Um, we'll see if they can hold that. I'm really looking forward to anything and the party's future with JD Vance. If JD Vance can, maintain a position and prosper and even grow in support as Trump's right-hand man, that's crucial. This is going to be very different, I think, to what it was with Mike Pence. Mike Pence was basically an adversary, almost a semi-adversarial character, right next to Trump, and he was basically put there because at that time Trump needed to soothe the view of him from the evangelical right. So he soothed them, and then he basically now has a lot of popularity uh, from uh, from that section. So then he doesn't have to appease them. That's why he's basically able to, cast off Mike Pence, and after Mike Pence basically betrayed him. Um, yeah, after he betrayed him, he was able to cast him off, and Pence basically tried to run in the primary and got absolutely nowhere, which was probably one of the best things to see in the Republican primary. But yeah, I mean, also, if you haven't been, or if you've noticed on my channel, I haven't been posting too much on the YouTube channel. I've been under the weather for a bit. I think I have some big plans coming. I'm working on some stuff behind the scenes. Hopefully, we can get some big things planned in the future, and you know, uh, listeners, supporters, viewers, I'm going to be relying on you guys in the future for partially part of my plans, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I'll My goal is to sort of make some announcement within a week for what that will look like. But this channel is not going away by any stretch of the imagination. If you're thinking that, that's not the case. I am still very much dedicated to this YouTube channel. Now, with the election, it's quite interesting because there are two states that are still somewhat more or less up for grabs. Not really. Trump has a handy lead in Arizona and Nevada, but they haven't been called, at least not by the Associated Press, which Trump is basically going to win. And Trump will have a higher electoral count than he did um, in in 2016. Not to mention the fact that he won the popular vote, which winning the popular vote is pretty huge for Republicans at the moment. The Democrats really don't have anything to sort of hurl at them, at Republicans, in some sense of like, um, saying that Trump's illegitimate or something like that. They really don't have that ability with Trump winning the electoral or the popular vote by a large margin. I wonder if California will have to give their electoral votes to Donald Trump, actually, because my understanding is that they pledged to give their electoral votes to whoever won the popular vote. And I think there are a lot of Democrat states that sort of pledged this. Now, of course, they probably will renege on this, but the fact that that's a possibility, that if they actually were honest, which of course Democrats are not, um but that's a possibility. That would be hilarious if Trump won, like, you know even more number of electoral votes. It's just really amazing. I don't know if you guys are feeling this. I just am extremely happy today. I I don't think I overestimated too much. Last night I think I might have said that um there would be more senators that would go red, or that Republicans would win more Senate seats. Michigan and Wisconsin have already been called for Democrats. And at least with Wisconsin, I think that has more to do with the fact that uh, there was an incumbent, and it's still looking like Pennsylvania might go Republican, and then it's also looking like, even though it's a tight race, Nevada could go to the Republican candidate there, which would make the GOP have 54 uh, 54 Senate seats. Now, the current status of the House is looking, I believe, all right. I think Republicans are still on track to winning the House probably not not by a huge amount at all, but that's something. So Trump will have a Republican. Will have this Republican Supreme Court. You have the Republican House of Representatives, at least as things stand, and you will have a Republican Senate. It will be very important to see what Trump actually makes his priorities. Uh, that's very dangerous. Uh, the crazy thing was the introducing of sort of Ron Paul to possibly becoming part of the administration. Thomas Massey might become Secretary for Agriculture. AI is here. What's going on?
Hi Connor, hi everyone. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the stream. We're to celebrate the return of King Trump.
Yeah, it's been a pretty cool 24 hours.
You were a negative Nelly on your own stream last night, in the beginning at least.
No, yeah, no. I had a brief moment. I saw a county, and I saw like it was like it was. I saw one county. I think in where was it? Michigan, and I was like, oh no, it's all over. It's all over.
You saw
It's
one
over.
county in Michigan, and you're like, "Oh, throw in the towel. We're done."
It's over. It's over. Oh, they're gonna win.
Is that just
No,
based?
I
Is that because of the failure of 0 seats? Are you just sort of negative because of that?
yeah, probably still with the legacy of the zero seat campaign. I will say though, because I did a prediction, which is the thumbnail of that video, and it's quite accurate. Um,
New Jersey, anyone?
well, no, but forget the New Jersey one because that one was a meme. That one was just for like for shits and giggles, sort of thing. But I will stand by that. Given I put in because we actually you could do like with that particular prediction map, that 270 one, you could adjust the percentage of whether it's like a deep blue or deep red or if it's light or tilt. And places like New York, I mean, Kamala Harris has won it by about what 55% of the vote.
Which one did you say?
New York,
New York,
the state of New
55.
York,
Yeah, 55% to 44.
55. Yeah, bearing in mind, I believe last time it was like 61, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Kamala Harris did fail to bring out supporters. I mean, she has
Yeah,
in the real sense, she has no supporters. Like these people are just Democrats. Like they are voting Democrat no matter who, more or less.
yeah, and but I mean, like one thing that is fascinating is the actual effect because there is like an effect or potentially down ballot and you mentioned California earlier and I've noticed that they're sort of not they're doing the good old fashioned well, we're going to count like 50% and then we're going to leave it for like a couple of days and then sort of figure out where to go from here. um
For the House, you mean?
yeah, in general, in the, for the presidential, for the House ones, um, but with the in combining the Senate, the presidential, and the House, the Republicans seem to be even picking up in like uh, uh, votes in California. Um, on the presidential level, I think Trump managed to flip back Orange County in the south and a few of those counties in the south, which were long time, you know, uh, Republican areas, I guess you could say, from the Bush era
Yeah.
and before. I mean, of course, we forget, California was quite a safe Republican state until Reagan got his hands on it. So,
Yeah, Reagan ruined that one with amnesty.
do you know what pisses me off? The one state that well, sorry, I said sorry. Uh, I just like the one state, you know. But yeah. But even in California, there has been a dramatic shift. I was looking. I think it was. I can't remember which one. It was maybe CNN. But there's like a. It shows like each county, like which way the votes in the presidential election go, whether they're more like Democrat leaning or Republican leaning. And I have to say that the map is based. You have like one of the, and it has like these arrows that point out like the longer the arrow is, like the more Democrat, the more like votes, the more votes the Republicans got there. I was looking at places like Queens in New York. Like Trump picked up a ridiculous amount. I think he's like on 30, what, 36% of the vote there.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
It's
the turnout, my understanding. Remember, I think Cringe Walker last night said, that New York turnout was really bad.
it could be that could explain why the it could yeah, because he mentioned that there's a ton of thing. If that would be the case, then on the surface, it presumably the uh those who would vote Democrat uh decided not, those that don't usually turn out, who usually turn out but decided not to turn out, were Democrat voters.
Well, yeah, I heard this from many people that uh that people's Democrat friends couldn't bring themselves to vote for Kamala Harris, but also couldn't bring themselves to vote for Trump either. So they just stayed home.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what happened. I think in a weird way, Biden had more energy. Sleepy Joe did.
So the final result, I'm guessing Trump will get what, a 312 electoral college
Yes.
vote. So he will win. Uh, I reckon he'll win Nevada and Arizona.
Yeah,
Um,
Nevada's looking really like it's going Trump. Arizona's still only 61% reporting.
61%.
Um,
He'll also win uh that one electoral college vote in Maine, by the looks of it.
Gotcha. Also, look at New Hampshire. It was very close. It was
Yeah,
called
very close.
very close. Only like um 3 points about, which is good. I mean, the problem is though, Republicans do this thing which bugs me, where they have a victory, but they really like the next election they'll stumble through again. Like they don't ever hold on to that energy, that support. And I'm hoping that like Vance starts doing like rallies almost like on a monthly basis, even from now on. He should just
Yeah.
crisscross the country because he's basically the heir apparent. I mean, I think that was the purpose of Trump picking Vance. And I do think Vance in some ways is a better version of Trump. What do you think?
Yeah, he hasn't got the baggage, I guess, as Trump. I mean, I will say, I think in 4 years' time, so what would it be, the 2028 presidential election, it will be between JD Vance and Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the Democrats will hopefully learn that they can never elect another woman again, because that's apparent to me that they always lose with female candidates. At least that's what Trump has shown.
Oh yeah, we have this. There's this really insufferable leftist. Because of course here in the UK we've had the usual um, talk. We have like these various like talk shows, and there's been like this one who is she is supposedly a historian, I've never read any of her books, so I'm skeptical on that. But anyway, supposedly a historian who doesn't know much about any particular topic of history was raging about the Americans, saying this is not a coincidence. This is the second time the American public have rejected a strong woman, and it's like, well, she's not really a strong woman because apparently she was a massive. Uh, I can't use say the word on here, but no, damn it, I will say the word because this is now Trump's America. Uh, I will say the word. No,
I'm
she was a
afraid.
massive R word when she was a prosecutor in California, and I am told that many defense attorneys, when they with their clients, when they saw who they were up against prosecuting, they would like high five and go, "Yes, yes, we got
Yes,
this,
we
Kamala
got her.
Harris." Yeah, it's like the most
Yeah.
incompetent one going.
Well, what's great is I think Trump has proven twice that you can't sleep your way to the presidency. I mean, Hillary tried it, Kamala tried it. It
you
didn't work.
can't you can't cover up rape, poison, or sleep your way to the presidency.
But also just like, I mean, think about what like Hillary Clinton's whole thing was. She was like, I am the former first lady. That is the reason I'm here.
Yes.
Like she married and slept with Bill Clinton. Well, allegedly, the last part, in order to in to get power. That's it. It's
Yeah,
basically
actually,
a deal where she made probably with him being like, I'll marry you, protect you from allegations and how you're a total pervert. Um, and then and I'll get you to the White House, and then you'll repay me by supporting me in the same way.
yeah. A funny side note, because we've been covering in our circles the Adam Curtis series in some form or another, and Adam Curtis uh the war on terror, the trap, the one that's got the neocons and the Islamists. Now, Adam Curtis, he doesn't believe in the I guess sort of the the accusations that are floating around the Clinton family. It's really interesting. That's one thing he won't acknowledge, that he just said he genuinely believes that it was all made up nonsense by neocons in the 90s to get at him.
Why would neocons do it? I mean, Bill Clinton was
Um,
basically a neocon too,
no,
or
well,
neoliberal.
well, yeah, he was more of a neoliberal. I think that the thing that was neocons were at this time, they were they were building up their hawkish attitude, particularly around Saddam and George H. Bush. He sort of stood up to the Bush Senior. He stood up to the neocons and said, "No, we're not going to overthrow Saddam after '91," which sort of pissed them off a bit. Um, and Clinton wasn't really. I mean, Clinton was taking on Al Qaeda and Islamist groups, in Afghanistan and was it Al Shabaab in Somalia and stuff. But he wasn't committed enough, and so in the Adam Curtis documentary, the idea is um, this is why they went after him, and they used like stuff like Whitewater and the Monica Lewinsky stuff. I think, if I'm absolutely honest, I do like Adam Curtis. I like his analytical storytelling.
I actually
I
don't
he,
know. I've never actually. I don't know who that is actually.
he's a documentary filmmaker. I might actually, after we do our Richard Hilton stuff, we might actually could maybe do like a review of one of the episodes, because that's they're quite good autisticy sort of
Okay.
sessions. One of the big things he loves to talk about is like the Rand Institute and Freud, Reich, neocons. He always managed to get them. Oh, and the Mayfair set as well. That which people like the old hereditary peers and stuff. He likes to get the he's done a few stuff on them. I would say though I don't agree with him on this particular point. I think he's I think it's just Cope by Adam Curtis, if I'm
Yeah.
absolutely honest.
Well, we've
Um
I don't know if do you know who David Frum is?
from
He's
yeah,
a big neocon.
yeah, I do know from, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do the name recognize name, yeah, yeah.
he tweeted out today that he's now deregistered as a Republican.
Yeah, I mean the thing there is, what's funny in this and is that all the neocons, like every single one of them, without fail, the Cheneys, Rum, um, have all basically got behind Kamala Harris. And we were watching last night on our stream on my stream, the Young Turks, and the Young Turks uh overall summary last night was that the reason why Harris' campaign lost dramatically was because the neocons latched themselves onto her campaign, probably because of the war, the Ukraine stuff, hawkish in Ukraine, hawkish with Israel, and the conflict in Iran there, um, and that's what tanked her campaign. And the thing there is, I think that them lot at Young Turks could be right in some capacity with that point of view. I think they're right. It was a contributing factor.
Well, I think it could be leading to low turnout, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, why? And I mean, it does appear that in Michigan, like the Muslim area, I don't know what they
Dearborn or whatever.
yeah, there was a dramatic shift. So it does show that maybe Muslims who voted Democrat last time may have either they voted Jill Stein. I think because Jill Stein came second in one of the counties, or they voted Donald Trump, and Kamala Harris was basically what happened. It happened in this country during the general election, where you had certain Muslim dominated constituencies voted for independent candidates who won, and Labour, who were usually the party of the Muslim vote, lost um, several safe seats, normally safe seats, because of Israel-Gaza conflict.
Yeah. Well, what's hilarious is that how badly the Libertarians did. They only got 567,000 votes this election. They will probably lose access like to the ballots for the next time.
I will say, because I'm basing this whole election. So I base all elections now on vibes, right? If you get it, it's just all on vibes. And
Okay.
my prediction map was just based on vibes. And even though it wasn't 100% accurate, it was about 90% accurate. So I'd take that. That's better than any pollster out there. So no nitpicking, Connor. Um,
What? Well, I wasn't
uh,
nitpicking. Well, maybe I was a little bit.
yeah,
I mean, you
it
did predict New Hampshire and Virginia as going to Trump, so
I did, and I think he did win it, but I think there were a bit of shenanigans in Virginia. But anyway, um, um, I do think that the Libertarian Party, it seems like a very outdated. It seems so like it seems like so 2010s, like Occupy Wall Street era. It seems like just a relic, an outdated relic, and to be honest, it's it, it's just it's not relevant anymore. People, libertarianism is just it's just so not relevant now. Everyone has got behind, like, pure Smithianism, even if they don't know what it is and what they call it. People have now identified, okay, I'm with this group, I'm with this group, and um we have right to rule, and we just don't. And the libertarians just believe in these complete childish fantasies of, you know, well,
Well, I don't know if it's exactly libertarians. This guy, was pro-trans surgery, so I think funded by the government. So
Okay, yeah, I mean,
I don't even think it's libertarianism. I think it's like he's just a leftist, basically.
yeah, it could be. I don't know them too well. As I say, my memory of the only thing I heard of the libertarians was that Trump attended their like national conference,
Yeah, they
and
had
he was on
their
stage.
convention. Yeah,
Yeah, the convention. Yeah, convention, and he basically said, "You're gonna have to get behind me. Get
which
behind me now."
which they did. I mean, that's all the evidence is to that.
Yeah, and I did like that. He just stood up. He says, "Do you want to be losers? Do you want to be losers?" And I was like, um, I mean, he has some serious like Mussolini, Saddam energy about him.
But in a New York sort of way.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
so I mean, think about it this way. Uh, the libertarians got, or did not get, or sorry, got, or were missing 1 million votes from last time. They got 1 million more votes last time than this time,
mm,
and I have a suspicion that most of that went to Trump,
yeah, I would say so.
or even
Especially,
Robert F. Kennedy might have gone there.
yeah, true. Um, I mean, I I think I I think people in America probably made up their mind months and months and months ago already who were they going to vote for. I think I mean there's another point, the Democrat Party cooed out Biden as sitting president. The Democrat Party members didn't get a vote on who their nominee should be. It was just thrusted upon them as the vice president, who, um, well, when she was in the running before in what was it 2019 was it?
Uh,
Um,
yeah, 2019.
yeah, 2019. I believe she came like bottom. She was like
Oh yeah, she was in last.
she was like
It was
last place. So
bad.
bad. So I can envision that there are some Democrats out there. I mean, while there you have like the generic base of Democrat cheerleaders who are ride and die blue, anything and everything blue will and they'll vote for. But I imagine there are some Democrats out there who are like, we didn't get to choose this candidate. She was put upon us. And probably in secret or themselves, they knew that she wasn't what they wanted, and that would explain why there was so uh, dismal turnout. Um, and the
Well,
thing that
I think if the media has to keep saying, "Oh, there's so much energy behind her. There's so much energy. She's so, fantastic, blah 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 blah." That's basically meaning I'm trying to tell you that you need to believe that so that you feel like you should vote for her. But really, no, but that's not the actual feeling.
yeah, and that brings me on to another thing, Connor, is that in the UK we have there's these two figures. One's Roy Stewart, who's a former Conservative MP. He's no longer a member of the Conservative Party. He sort of
Is he a Lib Dem now?
no, he's just just a moron. And
Wait, is that a party? Please let that be a party. Can someone start that and just get Rory Stewart to be a part of that party? Because I saw his reaction. He acted like a 8-year-old girl.
Rory Stewart is the biggest spastic on the planet. Okay. apologies to anyone in chat who's offended by that word, but this is Trump's America now, so we're saying all the words now. We're gonna get to the N word in a minute.
No, you're not.
No, I'm joking. I'm
Yeah.
joking. I'm joking, Donna. I'm,
Uh,
jo- I'm joking. But yeah, it was Rory Stewart. Who, just to give a quick lowdown, during the he somewhat has been lied about. Well, I wouldn't say lied. He was bending the truth about his military service a bit like Tim Waltz. Um,
really?
yeah, in his time about being in the army. He then, during the 2003 occupation of Iraq, he was a deputy governor for a province in southern Iraq for the British task force bordering on Iran. In that time there, he used the local Arab population. He got in contact with local leaders, mainly from the Shia Muslim community, so like imams and stuff. And they obviously saw him coming a mile off, and they said, "Oh yes, yes, we'll work with you and everything." While at the same time shaking the hand, they were literally bringing paramilitary arms and Iranian troops across the border, and he was completely unaware of it. And then it got to the point in during the occupation, which I don't know if you remember this, Connor, but there was this massive insurgency attack across Iraq where Fallujah was taken by Islamists, and then the Shia Muslims in the south revolted. And this was because Roy Stewart, in his capacity, along with many others, but as well, I hold him responsible in this as well, um, basically was naive enough to not notice whole armies of tens of thousands moving across the border. A
Okay.
desert border. It's not. You know,
That's
it's like
embarrassing.
yeah. So anyway, he's failed in everything he's done, and he teamed up with Alistair Campbell, who was the spin doctor for Tony Blair. Alistair Campbell is a nutcase who is deranged and not very intelligent. He's just, he's a thug. He can just bully people to get what he wants. He's not intelligent. He's not very Machiavellian. People like think he's Machiavellian figure. He's not. He's just a half wit. But anyway, um, those two have a podcast together, and they have been like,
Is it called the Halfwits?
yeah, it's called the half wits.
It
Yeah,
could
they,
be.
they they do podcasts, and I think they've done like podcasts with like that Emily Matis woman, who's an absolute horrible, ghastly woman. Um,
You need to be
she
more
really,
specific.
Emily Matis.
No, I know ghastly women. I just there's too many.
Yeah,
I yeah.
she was a BBC journalist, and then she went to Channel 4, and now she's doing her own thing.
Well,
Um,
but what's going to be the aftermath for Britain? How's Britain going to be affected by this election?
um, Britain probably won't be. Uh, Britain doesn't decide anything on the foreign policy or NATO front. America is like the ultimate arbitrator when it comes to that. So even if um, any like Labour minister or government minister got ideas above their station, there's nothing they can do about it. And um, just to give you a clear idea, do you remember that story that was going around that the Labour Party were organising 100 uh, members to travel to the swing states to help Kamala Harris? Did you hear about that story?
I did, yes. That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Apparently, the woman in question, who was a Labour Party activist and coordinator who was organising this, um, she's gone, completely dark. And uh, the other day, Keir Starmer was asked about her, given the potential that Trump would, because it's before before the election. So they were saying if Trump wins, right? And he
Yeah.
said, "It's okay. We've dealt with her. We
Yeah.
have
Okay.
dealt with her."
That was hilarious. I saw that tweet. I think because of you.
Oh yeah,
Because
I think I put based or something. I was like, yeah,
yeah,
based. I've dealt with her.
that's just a
Um,
the funniest response because it's so vague.
yeah,
Like
and
in especially in like a different time, like what that would mean.
yeah. I mean, but as I say, because I went on a bit of diatribe with Rory Stewart and the others. They have a podcast together, and one thing that's been fascinating, and I've seen it with maybe in the UK, and their experience of the last few months is basically Kamala Harris is killing it in the polls. She's ahead. She's going to win. The Democrats are going to also win bigly, down ballot. And this is like, Trump's out. He's out. He's out of the race. He's out of the game. There is no chance. And Rory Stewart even put like a list of like reasons why reasons why Kamala Harris will win, and it's quite funny because as you can imagine, um, so he put out, I'll just read this to you. He puts out the day before the election, Kamala Harris will win comfortably because Biden's admin has been solid. Trump lost ground, has lost ground since 2016. The young black male votes which Trump needs didn't turn out in 2016, 18, 20, or 22. So that he's including midterms in this. Young women like Kamala and vote. Ignore the polls. They're herding after past misses. Um, as you can imagine, that tweet has been bookmarked and absolutely raided for for milk
Yeah.
since then. He hasn't deleted it as well, so props to him. I guess he's sort of like sticking with it. He's done the video where he goes, "Oh yeah, I was wrong." Um,
Well, it's amazing that the polls still can't track the Trump vote very well. Like it's still like few points off depending on state.
um, I mean, in some states, it is like a full on 10, 11 points
Yeah,
off,
and
way off.
in some it's really far off, and others it's just a few points. But either way, it's still off.
Yeah, I mean, like New York, for example. So I'm going back to New York, but also let me use another example. Vermont, right?
Yeah.
Now, Vermont, Harris won it. It's very deep Democrat. It was
Mhm.
never in play. It wasn't in
I
play
I think it's maybe the deepest blue state in the country. Maybe.
at the moment. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
even today. Yes, that would be correct. But because like I think Biden, what he won it with like over 70% of the vote last time. It was something ridiculous. It was like 75, 76. Kamala Harris has won it with 64, possibly 65%. They're still counting um, on current trajectory. Um, Trump has increased his share of the vote dramatically then. But if you look at the polls leading up, it's basically showing that Kamala Harris will either receive the same number of votes as Biden this last time, or she'll increase it by a small percentage. And so, even in states that they weren't looking, but they were doing like there was like generic polls done locally by like local papers and local pollsters, they still missed it, and um it, it is thing. And I think, and I did this stream of after the riots here in England, that there is this hyper reality where people now live in two different people, you would say echo chambers, but I think it's gone beyond echo chambers. It's dealt totally different realities. There are some people who experience this election believing that, with all the content, probably because the way the algorithms that they have, because they're left wing Democrat or Labour supporting, or what have you, who would view all this content news coming in, and for them, uh, Kamala Harris was, yeah, of course she's ahead everywhere, she's going to win. And then you had people, maybe on your side, on our side of things, who were looking at it and it's actually, Trump's doing quite well. Trump's got that energy. That energy is there, and he's got Elon, he's got Joe Rogan. I mean, we've also looked a bit deeply. We looked sort of behind the scenes a bit, and you can tell, Silicon Valley, some Silicon Valley guys, were getting
distancing
behind
some,
Trump.
or just distancing themselves from the Democrats for
Yeah, or
watching.
dissing themselves. And you had Jeff Bezos with the
Yeah,
the Washington Post, which was a very clear indication. I
and the
think,
LA Times as well.
and the LA Times. I think with Jeff Bezos, when I saw Jeff Bezos do that what was it, last week, I it was at that point I did think to myself, I think the Democrat. I thought to myself that Trump would probably win it then. I will admit, though, I did think it would be a bit closer. I didn't think he would win, um, uh, uh, places like Pennsylvania or Michigan or something. I thought it would be more the Sun Belt, Nevada and Arizona would decide it. I didn't expect it as well to be fully announced over the course of the day
Well,
and
I was
night.
pretty sure Pennsylvania was gonna get called because the ground game in Pennsylvania was just too good to basically go any other way at that point. The
Yeah.
registrations to vote, the Amish got out. Basically the Amish were the clinching votes, I think, to really give Trump the edge, which is really interesting because obviously they're less interested in voting, generally speaking.
Yeah, Carl Benjamin, he compared them to when you're talking in Lord of the Rings term, he said that the Amish are like the Ents, and
Okay,
it's like
yeah,
Treebeard coming, and they're coming out in Pennsylvania, the Ents, to crush the demonic Democrat structure, and um, it was the thing is, watching the reaction, the amount of people that were in shock. It wasn't like just pure propaganda. I think is that there is a deeper problem in America, in particular, and in the UK. I would say in America, one of the problems you got two people who are living the American experience, two different groups, and experiencing America in two different realities. You've got the MAGA reality and Trump, the MAGA Republican reality, and you've got the Democrat progressive reality. And this time, the Trump one is more grounded in reality,
yeah. I do
in
think
real
there's
reality.
a reality. Like there are people, and I think you and I are living in the reality. Like we're just looking at sort of what's we're looking at the polls, or we were looking at sort of where prominent people were going, whose side they were moving towards, that sort of thing. Like we were looking at all these different things. We were looking at not just the numbers but also factoring in the numbers.
Yeah, and in my defense, I know before there'll be some like smarmy git in the chat saying, "Well, excuse me, AI, but you were predicting all night that New Jersey would flip." In my defense, in my defense, Kamala Harris won it with 51% of the vote, and Donald Trump is currently on 46, and it's not all in yet. They're still voting. They're still counting the votes there. So it's not like I predicted an outlandish. Um, I mean, it's like 50-50.
It was less outlandish than it would normally seem. Though of course I just want to say why, I don't know if I've said this already, but why I named the street in Return of King Trump. It's just the it reminds me of two things basically. I mean, the whole Trump thing has sort of the hero's journey sort of written on it. Like it just feels like a three-part like a trilogy of movies. It's sort of the for if you're looking at Star Wars or something like that, you've got sort of 2016 is the A New Hope.
Yeah, New Hope. Yeah,
2020 is
The
sorry,
Empire Strikes
The Empire
Back.
Strikes Back. Yeah, and then 2024 is Return of the Trump, basically.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, there's actually deeper Star Wars meaning within it because, of course, with when you have the Empire Strikes Back, Vader is like peak villain, right? In
Uh-huh.
Empire Strikes Back, he's peak villain. He's you know, he caught Han. Han's gone off to with the Huts to frozen in carbonite. He cut off Luke Skywalker's hand, and the ultimate twist, he said, "Luke, I am your father," and it's done, done, done. Everyone's shocked, I can't believe it, and they barely get away alive. And the rebels have been defeated on Hoth, and they're all on the back foot because that's the end. That's the basically the thing is at the end of the Empire Strikes Back, the rebels and the team and the heroes are all on the back foot. And this time round, Biden, a lot of people have been sort of formulating these narratives where Biden has actually been subtly helping Trump, and
Yeah.
that the last bit of intervention where he was like, um, he
Trump
called
supporters are garbage.
garbage or something like that,
Yeah.
and Kamala Harris had to come out and say, "Oh, well, I don't agree with that assessment." Um, and it's kind of like, is he doing it? And then he's been like wearing that Trump hat, like he wore
Yeah,
it
I
and then he
know that
wore it again,
that was
and
yeah, that was crazy.
that was early on. So,
Yeah.
like Darth Vader, um, Joe Biden in the end
Comes
returned to
around.
well, he returned to his true form of like his true Anakin form is like racist Joe Biden from the 70s, and he kicked out that brown that that brown candidate.
If anything, he kicked out the betrayer. It's like he if you think about it, it's like, Palpatine uh lied to Vader that he killed his wife, right? Or,
Yeah,
killed Padme. And it's like, the backstabbing is basic, and then sort of realization what has happened, when Biden's account tweeted out that he was exiting the race, which no,
yeah,
I don't know if anyone really believes that he himself tweeted that out or proved
yeah.
it, or even knew that that was happening until after. W
I don't think he knew it was happening, and then he tweet because that was the thing. He tweeted it out, and it was very like at the time, even I was looking at it and I was thinking, oh, he's been cooed out because I've seen enough of that in you. It happens in this country, it happens in the continent and in the European continent. I see it so often. I was like, oh yeah, the party have cooed him out, you know. But the thing though is, I have to remember that that isn't normal in America. That's not a normal. You don't you don't go through like 10 presidents in like 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. You don't go through a president in 30
Yeah,
days or whatever.
yeah.
Liz
I
Truss
mean,
got cooed.
there's that point in the Roman, particularly in the Western Roman Empire, where or was it like in the fourth century, where they were going through like Roman, it's like you had on average like a Roman emperor every 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, the sort of return of the king is also just that's what it feels like. It feels like the return of the king at the end of the Lord of the Rings. Though, thinking about like the return of the king in some ways is like the first part of the book. Like the second part is the destroying of the ring, or the destruction of the ring and the fully defeat of Mordor. I'm almost thinking, I think Sargon was saying that today is like the destruction of the tower, the Dark Tower, or Barad-dûr. but I think it's no. I think it's like we just had the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
I think what's important for, you know, and right wing movements in Europe may want to capitalize on the energy, because this is the thing is, I know I jokingly say, oh well, I'm going to base all my politics off vibes and good feelings and stuff, but in many ways, that's what revolutionary movements and successful political movements throughout history has done. I mean, take any Marxist or socialist movement. What did they start with? It was like about 10 guys in a either in a pub or in a club of some sort with a typewriter and just writing, and then like forming like a political vanguard, and then within 10-20 years they were ruling over, say the Soviet Union or Cuba or somewhere like they were they were ruling over or mid-century Germany. um uh and so I would say that this win will re-energize um, other other groups within the in the Western world. I know that there are some out there who are going, Trump is an agent for Israel. He's going to put Israel interests first, and everything, and um, he might do. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, because he has stood up. I mean, he has like had like a public slanging match with Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government before. That was over the certification of in 2020 though. But
Yeah, we'll see if he sort of fully understands who his enemies are. It we have we have a lot to look at when it comes to who his appointments will be. Like that, I think that will be like the real determiner of who he's going to be leaning on, who he's going to be getting advice from. And I think Trump does listen to advice a lot. And not all the time. He does sometimes go his own way, but he does listen to advice, I think. And it's just interesting, this rumor about Thomas Massey being uh, going to be Secretary of Agriculture, which he's a quite a libertarian, anti-war Republican. So also, I don't know if you saw, but Catholics were very important in the election. Catholics voted for Trump 55%, um,
oh,
which
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Catholics mostly determine the election in the presidential election. Depending on which way Catholics go, so mostly goes the election.
So I'm guessing in previous elections, Catholics probably broke for the Democrats.
Well, in the ones that uh, Democrats win, yeah. So
Yeah.
like with Biden, yes. With Clinton, no. And I'm guessing it's the same. Obama probably won both times with Catholics. Um, I mean, so yeah, it's interesting, especially as Latino men are becoming more and more conservative, and I'm pretty sure Gen Z men is like 50-50 at the moment. So there's a lot. The youth is really important in the sort of the European right wing. Am I right about that?
No, 100%. I was going to say, particularly I mean, in the AFD, for example, those are the ones. They are uh, the AFD is basically governed by people in their, I think you have a lot of people in their 40s. I think what you have as well is a large scale deboomerization of politics, because
Yeah.
and the reason I think for if you're a German nationalist, you can't have boomers in there for obvious reasons, because they have been so propagandized to hate their own civilization. I'm guessing you probably just can't get anything done. You can't get
Yeah.
anything done, meaningfully done. Um, and uh, uh, the most I say nationalist wing of the AFD is the AFD Thuringia party party, the state
Hmm.
party there, and they won the majority of votes and seats. The AFD in other states, even in their stronger ones, came like joint second or a close second, but they rejected the whole nationalist. They went a bit more Civnat. So what it showed is, oh, this guy, I forgot his name now, but he's well known face in the in German politics. He went all out nationalist and everything, and he won. He won. He didn't, it wasn't even like particularly close. He had a quite a nice decent majority.
Hmm.
So it just goes to show, and this the thing is that you'll hear constantly that we need to return to the center ground, and you'll probably hear in the coming weeks and months Democrats in America, some of them will probably say, well, we need to reconnect with the American public and we need to refine the center ground. And that's, I reckon you'll have that talking point in America of Democrats that we're saying um, particularly those who've got political ambitions in 4 years' time, will saying, well, we need to go back to the center ground. I think, again, back to TY, the Young Turks, even they admitted on stream that the um, uh, progressive policies like around transgenderism and a lot of the extreme stuff is uh, is just it is like ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like um, to be concerned with. Um, I mean, Cenk even was like, you just need to have a campaign purely based on economics. Um,
Yeah, well, the social issues are definitely getting in the way of Democrats winning more so than Republicans, which is really different from previous types of elections. But no, I think if you lean right and you're a Republican, you're gonna win. If Republicans move too far into the center, they lose.
Yeah, so I got another, and this is the thing, is like, I think also, and I'm going to be honest, I think the Democrat Party at large, or figures within the Democrat Party at large, the people who decide in the DNC, basically gave this one to Trump. I think they weren't interested in fighting this election like the way the conservatives weren't bother fighting this election. And the reason I say that is like Seattle. I saw this on Twitter actually, on the an article here saying that Seattle Police Department shuts down Antifa's plan for election night to Chaz style riot. So people, if you remember, you had that cop-free zone in central Seattle, which
Yeah.
they called the Chaz,
Yes.
which was like an anarchist, like, sort of like splinter zone. And basically, from my understanding, is the Seattle Police Department have gone down there in riot gear and have made like several arrests and shut the whole thing down before it could, get any further. So, um, and also the BBC and Sky News were reporting 2 days ago that the National Guard were put on standby in Nevada, Oregon, Washington State, and California.
Gotcha.
So obviously there was an assumption on that in the state level Trump was going to win. So there must have been Democrats who were aware of the reality on the ground and were like, yeah, Trump's going to win, so we need to prepare to make sure there isn't like crazy, um, you know, these crazy white women and minorities aren't going to like spurg out and want to, riot or do something weird.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Well, let's wrap it up there. I'm glad we were able to do this. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm glad I was able to go on yours last night.
No, it was a good stream, and I think it was great to sort of witness, because I don't have anything nice. I don't have anything nice at the moment.
in Britain, is
Um,
that what you
yeah,
mean? Yeah,
no,
you
it's
guys are
nothing nice.
living vicariously at the moment through us.
I'm not being funny. If there was ever a scenario where Trump was going to like instigate a military coup to get rid of Starmer, and like old CIA tactics, even though I've been critical of that, like those American style tactics,
To
and
install Farage.
I wouldn't I wouldn't be against it in principle.
Well, yes. Okay. Well, we'll end it there. But yeah, so Trump wins. There are things to be optimistic about. Trump's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. He's not. He's not going to touch on abortion or anything like that in the except for maybe defund Planned Parenthood, hopefully, or something like that. uh and he'll at least leave it open for the states to figure out what hopefully some good policies. Unfortunately, one of the big losers over in the election was many states voted to make abortion legal in a few even red states. So very sad about
um,
that.
Connor,
Mhm.
sorry to interrupt. While I said I'm in favor of Trump help basically instigating a coup in this country,
Yes.
Apostolic Majesty 3 minutes ago put out on Twitter, in 1688, notables seven nobles invited the Dutch
Uh,
Prince William of Orange to depose James II. As an English patriot, I suggest sending an invitation to Trump, the Orange Man, to depose Labour. History doesn't repeat, but often rhymes. So I do like that. Like within like at the same time, both me and Apostolic Majesty were sort of like begging Americans to.
I should have seen if he would jump on. Uh, I should have asked him to see if he wanted to jump on, because that would have been really funny to hear where he's coming from on that. But yeah, well, let's thank you
Yeah.
guys for watching. More to come on this channel. Check out AI Shiratori as well on his channel. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and God bless everyone. Bye.